And with that, I want to thank everybody for coming to the International Education Administration and Leadership CERT information session with the University of Illinois. I am Travis Giffen, the Assistant Director of Online Programs. We have some others here from online programs with us here today who will be speaking, but if you have questions throughout the presentation, you can ask them in the chat and we will be there to help answer those questions. With that, I also wanted to, as we're getting started here, covering some information, your audio should be muted for your microphone, but if you have questions toward the end of the presentation, you'll be able to unmute yourself to ask that question. We also have a quick poll here just to find out about where you learned about the information session, to give us some additional information there. And we will go ahead and get started with the rest of the presentation. I think I'm going to turn things over to Sangeetha to talk about campus graduate certificates here.
So welcome everybody. So the campus graduate certificate, or CERT as we refer to it fondly, is a graduate level certificate. What that means is that you will need a bachelor's degree to apply for it. The certificate itself is transcriptable. Again, what that means is that the courses will show up on your transcript, as well as the certificate name itself will show on your transcript. The courses that you take as part of a CERT can be stacked towards a master's degree. So if you get admitted towards to a master's degree, you can apply the course credits that you earned from the CERT to the master's degree. Again, it has to be a master's degree that's aligned with the CERT for that to be possible. Students are eligible for financial aid, and we'll talk a little bit more about how the process a little later. And the CERT is only available to those students who are currently not enrolled in the degree program. So these are some questions that that most students have, so I'm going to quickly address them, but again, we can circle back to them later in the session as well. One question is, how do I apply? So that's the URL that you see on the screen for applying. Another cost that another question that we hear often is, what does it cost? So for the new academic year that starts in fall, it's $500 per credit hour. So depending on how many credits, then you just multiply it. And then I believe I answered the next question already. Does it show up on my transcript? Yes. Now it's over to Allison.
Had to remember to unmute myself there. I usually talk for a minute or two before I realize that. So hi, everyone. My name's Allison Witt, and I'm the director of the Office of International Programs in the College of Education. And I also teach in global studies. And I do teach a number of the courses that you might be interested in taking if you are doing this CERT. But you should know that you'd be drawing from faculty courses from faculty across the college. Probably, I'm guessing many of them would be in global studies in education. Human resource development has a number of courses that our students really love, and also curriculum and instruction. So those are a few of the more popular ones, but we do allow you to choose courses from across the college. So you would be finding faculty from all different areas. So just to give you a little overview of the program, we have designed this program for folks who are interested in adding to their expertise and their knowledge about international education. Because it's so individualized, you can really pick and choose what regions of the world or what special skills it is that you are interested in developing. Now, when we talk about international education, what we mean are things that range from, for example, education policy, or maybe study abroad, or hosting and taking care of international students, working in student mobility in terms of visas and government regulations. All sorts of different areas like that. Certainly administration of programs, and also internationalizing the curriculum or internationalizing institutions themselves. So there's a number of different areas that are under this umbrella of international education, and we really try to work with you to get exactly the coursework that most specifically fits your particular interests. So yes, as I mentioned, it's highly individualized. We really let students choose, and we try to work with you and talk about, what you're really hoping to gain from the certificate, what you want to gain from the program, so that you can really specifically choose those courses. One of the big highlights of the program is that we do have education abroad, study abroad, as a part of this program. Now, for many participants, they are interested in, and maybe already work in, developing study abroad programs. This is a way that you actually do that by going on a program and using that time to develop your own program. Either if you already are working in international education, you could actually put together a program that you're going to turn around and use in your work. If you are applying for positions, by having developed a program in concert with us, you really get a chance to show that you can do that and learn all the ins and outs, the challenges, the difficulties, but also the thrill of putting together a program specifically for students. At the same time, you also have the opportunity to do an evaluation of study abroad, which you would use our program sort of as your your guinea pig, and you would study our program and evaluate it very carefully as a way to, again, get those skills, be able to do that, be able to evaluate study abroad and show to your employer or to your future employer that you already know how to do that and that you have some experience doing so. We also have a really exciting opportunity for internships. This caught me by surprise, I have to say. I put together an internship course for one student, and it took off like wildfire because many students started coming to me saying, well, can I do an internship? And this is in our graduate program, but we've included it here as a part of the certificate. It's been really, really exciting and fun because students come to me and say, well, I have this skill, but I'm missing this piece. I don't know how to work on visas for international students coming in, or I don't know how to prepare students to go on study abroad, or I've never really developed curriculum for internationalizing curriculum. Can I get some expertise in that? And so we will look across the campus, find someone who's doing something really extraordinary in that area and pair you up with them. Now, sometimes that's in our college, but sometimes it's somewhere else across campus. It's a huge, huge University of Illinois campus with so many international things going on. We can definitely find some amazing experts for you to partner with and do an internship with. What's ended up being really great about this is then you have that person as a reference when you're applying for jobs. You have someone who is a leader in the field that you have worked closely with that can speak to your skill set and your expertise as well. And I also think it gives you that opportunity to really get in and see if you actually like something. I've had students that thought they wanted to do something maybe with international students or something with education abroad. When you get in and do an internship and you're in the field, you get to really test that theory. Is that something you really love? Is it something you want to do? And of course, during the past 2 years, during the pandemic, probably the most challenging time for international education, I tell students, if you liked it now, you will love it during regular times, because this has been a real test for international educators. So those are two things that I just definitely wanted to call out to you today as specific parts of the program that I think are real highlights. Now, certainly you don't have to do an internship and you don't have to do education abroad, but those are two things that have been really popular with our other graduate students, and that I've seen be really successful in getting them those skills that they really want to move their career forward. So I wanted to call those out to you today. The other thing I wanted to mention, oh, just real quick. Yeah, thanks, Travis. I wanted to mention about the network that develops in this program. Because you would be taking courses in our graduate program that is global studies, human resource development, our students in those online programs are located all over the world, and our practitioners, they are working in the field. That has proved to be an amazing advantage for students as they graduate, because they already know people, they already have close connections and friends, even, colleagues, peers all over the world in different areas. What an amazing resource to have as you go into looking for a job. I've even had students in the graduate program that have swapped. One went to one place and the other one ended up going where the other one had been. So the kinds of networks that develop in the program have been a real advantage, and something else I wanted to draw your attention to. Just that huge global network of the University of Illinois is an amazing resource to have as you get started in your career, or as you change, focus of your career, or you want to advance in your career into a higher level. Having those friends and colleagues around the world doesn't hurt. So I wanted to bring that to your attention today too. Okay, we can go ahead now. Thanks, Travis. So just a couple of the things that you can sort of expect to pull out of this degree program. One of the things that I think is really important about it is that we really talk about these practitioner skills within this broader theoretical base. That's something that has been tremendously useful to me in my own work when I'm faced with decisions. As we all bump into these really big challenges, especially over the past few years. It's really been beneficial to have this theoretical grounding and this understanding of these global processes, of the ways that power relationships work globally, so that when I'm faced with these big challenging decisions, the day-to-day things that happen in international education, I have a foundation to pull on and to work from. I know that there are a lot of places you can go for quick skill development. Think about NAFSA, for example. They have some amazing courses that you can take, real quickly, just to get some little skills. That's terrific. But this is different, because here what we're trying to do is to give you the broader, bigger understanding of what's actually going on globally, so that when you're faced with decisions about, where should I establish education abroad? Why are my Chinese students, not integrating with the other students on campus? These kinds of challenges that we face. You can look at the bigger picture. You have a theoretical base, a research base to draw from in order to make those kinds of adjustments in your programming, and also enable to explain that to other administrators and people across your campus or your school. In ways that I think are really important as we go forward in such uncertain times. So that's something that I think really distinguishes this certificate from sort of short courses designed to just give you a quick skill. Now, of course, you do get to develop skills in this program. And I would encourage you to really think about, what I tell students to do is look at the job that you want. Think about, where do I want to be in the next year, in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years? And then let us know what that is, and talk with your advisor about that. Look at the job applications and try to decide, what am I missing? I have this piece, this piece, this piece, but if I were to apply for my dream job, what am I missing? And that's exactly what we will try to help you find in this program and fill in so that you are ready then to go to that next step in your career. So whether it's, education abroad management, program evaluation, partnership development, working with international organizations, whatever it is, we will then help you take that next step, fill in that piece that's missing in your experience or in what you see yourself wanting to do. Will get you that experience so that you're ready to then jump ahead. Now we've had students coming out of our coursework that have done so many different things. So it's sort of hard to say this is the one thing you're going to be able to do when you're done. You can do a lot of different things. And again, this goes back to the fact that you tailor the coursework to exactly where it is you want to go. And you can see from this list here, there's the opportunities are pretty vast. And again, many of these are located in other parts of the world. So, we're not just training you for success here at, on campus in Champaign-Urbana, but globally, anywhere that you see yourself wanting to go. Now, in terms of the courses, this is a really big list and there's no way I can tell you about all of them. These are some of my favorites. I can say, you can see the education abroad there is right at the top, and that one can be used, as I mentioned, in several different ways. We also have the internship at the bottom that can be used in several different ways. But this whole big list in the middle gives you an idea of the different ways that you can pick and choose to really get to exactly the things that it is you want to study, that get you excited and that you think are the next part, the next step in your own career.
And I can step in here, Allison.
Sure.
Thank you for all that. So questions that we always get are about the course structure, and just want to let everybody know about the course structure for the graduate programs within the College of Education. Courses are 8 weeks long. They're just about all 4 credit hours apiece. So what that means is there's a part of term A and a part of term B. Most students take one class in the first part of the semester, term A, and take a second class in the second part of semester, term B. Most classes have weekly synchronous sessions, usually weekdays, 2 to 2.5 hours. Attendance is usually expected, but always confirm with your professor if you're going to miss a class, or reach out to your teaching assistant if you're going to miss a synchronous session. Cost, as Sangeetha had mentioned earlier, is $500 per credit hour. There aren't any fees for online students and online programs, but tuition is subject to change. Full-time status for financial aid purposes is 6 credits per semester. So for most of these programs with 4 credit hours apiece, you'd need to take 2 classes in order to reach the financial aid eligibility per semester. But full-time status for all other purposes is 12 per semester. Also with that, as we get into some of the rest of the presentation, other questions, so that we can make sure to tailor them best we can to the audience. If you could let us know what your highest degree that you've earned is. Admissions are through the graduate college. Admissions for a CERT follow the same application protocols as other graduate programs. The graduate college approves the decision based on the requirements of the program for admission. Deadlines are upcoming for admission to the campus graduate certificate. July 15th is just around the corner, and that is the application deadline for fall term A. Fall term B is September 15th, and you can apply at choose.illinois.edu/apply, as you can see there on the screen. We also get questions about financial aid, but financial aid is very specific to each individual case. So if you do have questions about financial aid, we encourage you to reach out to student financial aid directly at 217-333-0100 or at finaid@illinois.edu. for those questions so that we can make sure that you get the exact answer that you have answered. Why choose Illinois? Education at Illinois. We are a top tier research university. We're currently ranked #3 by US News and World Report for online master's degrees. Programs we think are competitive and affordable. We have world-class faculty, and thank you again, Allison, for joining us today. But there are so many others just like Allison that teach the programs. The online student engagement is a focus for the programs, and peers in the programs have a diverse and rich background from all over the world. So even though we are located here in Central Illinois, we have students from across the globe, across the United States and in other countries, especially in the international programs, but not only in the international programs. So there's a diverse student makeup, and you have access to online resources through the College of Education and online programs. As you can see here, this is our current ranking for online masters. We're currently #3, hoping to continue to have another great year for 2023. And as we mentioned before, the application deadline for the campus graduate certificates is July 15th. So that is just around the corner. So you'll want to apply now as soon as you can. With that, I'm going to go ahead and pause the presentation, and we'll open things up for questions and answers. You can either type them in the chat or you can feel free to unmute yourself and ask that question, and we can get that answered for you.
We're a small enough group, so feel free to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're interested in this CERT. We'd love to hear a little bit more about you and your background.
While folks are thinking about questions, I can ask you a question, Allison, that's similar to we've gotten in some of the other sessions. So the IEAL CERT, can you talk about how it stacks into the master's programs and other programs with international studies?
Yeah, I think this is a really exciting thing, especially for our program, because it gives you a way to get started and to get that credential right away. So you could then go ahead and enter the workforce in the field and see if you do want to go ahead to the master's. Then that's very easy to do. You would just add the coursework on to go on into the master's. And I don't know how much you guys know, but we also have the EDD program that follows on after the master's. And so I see this as a great way to get that first credential, go ahead and get that first position or the next step for you, whatever that is. And then you can continue working along if you feel you need it. It may be that the CERT is enough to get you to the position that you want. It's going to show that you have that expertise. And if you're just missing one thing, if you're missing a particular region of the world or some sort of expertise, the CERT might be enough to take care of it to get you into that position that you want. From there, I expect I may see you back in the master's or the going on into the doctoral program. But at least it would get you, where you need to be to get that next position. And I think that's important. And also gives you a chance to make sure it's what you want to do before you go, full on into a master's or into a doc program. It's a nice stepping stone to kind of get you on the road and see where it goes. Is anybody that's here already working in international education? Or is everybody kind of thinking about going in that direction?
I am not, but I'm aspiring to move into that realm.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a background in foreign language, and I've done some work in the international realm, but I feel like I need the actual credentials.
Yeah, yeah, that's such a common thing that I hear is that, you don't have it, it's not written down in the right way, for when you're applying for jobs. So I think, what are you thinking, like when you think of your dream position, what is it?
A director in a study abroad office, perhaps
Mhm.
even residing in a foreign country,
Yep,
doing it from that perspective.
sure.
Yeah, so I'd like to prepare for that. And I
Great.
like what you said about tailoring your program to your desired position.
Mhm.
So I'd like to be really strategic about doing that. I currently have master's degrees in both French and Spanish, and like I said, some experience in the field, but
Right.
so I'm wondering, can this CERT roll up into a doctor of education potentially? If
Yes, you'd go first. Well, since you already have the master's, how would that work, Sangeeta? Would she need to get this master's too, or she'd roll up into the EDD?
I see Gina shaking her head, so Gina
Okay,
has
yeah,
some-
somebody, so let me leave that question to the experts.
You could just, if you already have your master's, then you can just apply directly to the EDD and the certificate courses can transfer to that.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking too. So, is there a region in the world, like you've already got the French and Spanish, are you wanting to add a region, or are you thinking just really focus in that area?
Focus in that area, particularly France.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my daughter's in France right at this minute, so I'm
So
my
you
heart's in
understand.
France right now.
I am definitely a Francophile, so.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Well, we have some really fantastic partnerships there. So I think that would be something we could definitely work on. Now, you've led study abroad there before, or what's your experience like with study abroad, if you don't mind my asking?
No, well, other than participating in study abroad as an undergraduate and graduate student, I collaborated with a colleague at the university where I work on a short study course, and was co-director of it was a Brexit course that we took them, led students,
Excellent.
in the UK.
Yeah.
For over spring break. That was
Okay. Sure.
So that's the only real concrete, academic or administrative experience I've had with study abroad.
Yeah, so we could look at doing either the internship or the education abroad, or maybe some combination of both, to really filling that in and, ramping up that. I would also like to get you working with our foreign language department, just so you'd have those references too. I think that'd be really valuable as you're going into the field. And then there's other coursework that I would love for you to take. Like, for example, I teach a course in the fall, globalization of higher ed. And that one, every week we take a different situation, say, or issue that's happening in higher education, and we do a case study of that, and we work through some kind of challenge. That would be a great course for you, because you would get to meet all the colleagues that in the program that are all over the world working in different spaces, but would also, I think it's really good for the day-to-day experience of being an international administrator, because these are the kind of challenges you face, right? But also it's great preparation for an interview, I've learned, because a couple of the students that did that class with me last fall said that they got very similar questions in their interview, and they were ready for them because we had worked through these case studies. And so they had, really great answers for interviews. I mean, I'm a little more concerned. I'm glad they got the jobs, but I'm also thinking, I hope it's great experience practice for the day to day, because
most importantly, right?
Right. So a course like that, I think, would be really good for you too, then to add with the practical piece. And you could really put together a nice program then. And then, since you're in higher ed, I'm guessing I'll see you later in the EDD program. We keep coming back for more, right? We get
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I have another question too.
Sure.
So you mentioned a fieldwork experience as part of the CERT program. How does that sort of unfold, being that it's only a three course, 12 credit program?
What was the first part of your question? Sorry.
Yeah, you explained that you could do a study abroad, field work or evaluation of some type of.
Internship,
Yes.
right?
Yes. So the education abroad course, the 499, education abroad. So for example, we are doing a program to Morocco, which, could be good for you even this winter break. And so some of the students that go will be doing a evaluation of that program while they're there, and they will get 4 credits to do that evaluation. And there will be a template and some readings and some preparation for doing a program evaluation. We'll talk about different models of program evaluation, and then they will actually go on the program, use that time in Morocco to evaluate that program and come back with a full program evaluation. Some of the students going to Morocco will be going as a program development. So for example, I have a student that is a study abroad director at another campus. She will use that program to develop her own study abroad program and put together a full-blown, site evaluation, develop those connections, pick out the lodging, the all of the details of the program and put that together, and she will get, the 4 credits for that. So you can kind of tailor that experience to whichever end of the experience is most important for you. At the same time, we will have undergraduate students and some graduate students who are just going on a general, study of Morocco. The focus of that particular program is local and community school engagement and how that works. It's very similar in Morocco. They have something kind of similar to our Boys and Girls Clubs. So we'll be doing sort of a comparative analysis of that. So we'll have students, traveling together, going through this experience, but everybody's, one group will be looking at the school community, one group will be looking at developing a program in Morocco, and one group will be looking at evaluating a study abroad program. And so you could pick, whatever you wanted to do out of those 3 options, and that would end up being one of your courses in the certificate.
Wow,
And,
those are full-time students though, right? Or that you described, or no? Are they online students, part-time?
It'll be a mix. Some of them will be on campus full-time, some of them will be online. It'll be a mix. There'll be everybody, all different types.
The reason I'm asking is because I'm wanting to do this online program, but I'm working full-time.
Yes.
But if it were, you're doing something over winter break or spring break, I mean,
It's winter break, yeah. And then the course itself, you would take the course itself, depending on whether you're doing program development or program evaluation, you would either take it in the October, the fall B, or in the spring A, is when you would get the 3 credits.
I see. Okay.
I mean, sorry, 4 credits, 4 credits.
Credits.
It would be one of your courses in the program if you did that, for example. But you don't have to do an education abroad. I mean, there's plenty of other
Sure.
stuff, but it is one option, and I think that's one that's students really have benefited in terms of going into education abroad after having that experience.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a real hands-on experience.
Yeah, hands-on, and then being able to say, to speak, really with detail about what it takes to set up a program or what it takes to develop, all those relationships. It just saves a lot of time by going ahead and doing it once. So you kind of know what you're getting into.
Thank you.
Anybody else kind of have a different area of international education they're interested in? We've talked a lot about education abroad, but that's just one angle. We have so many other different areas you can focus on if you're interested in something else. And I should probably put my email in the chat too, huh, Travis, in case people think of questions later or.
May I chime in with another question while others are thinking?
Of course, for sure.
Yes, please.
Yeah, just in terms of the application process, since the deadline is upon us, is it the typical transcripts, letter of interest or purpose, and then recommendation letters, or can someone outline that for us?
You want me to take this one?
I see Gina's unmuting herself.
Okay, yeah, okay, go ahead, Gina.
For the certificate program, you're only required to submit transcripts and then a CV or resume.
And
I
once
dropped my-
again, oh, I'm sorry.
Go
I'm
ahead.
just going to say, once again, upon successfully completing that, or during the period where I'm completing the CERT, I can apply to another program for admission, correct?
Correct.
I dropped my email there in the chat too. If you think of other things later, don't hesitate to reach out.
So Allison, just so, you know, when others are viewing the recording later on, I wonder if you could also speak to a path, so that's a little bit different from what Elizabeth was asking about. So maybe a different kind of a career path or an interest.
For sure. So, you know, for example, I'm thinking right now of a student that is very interested in working in international partnerships. She's actually has a law degree, but now is you know, wanting to work in higher education and is really interested in facilitating those international partnerships. So a path for someone like that would be, you know, for example, some of the coursework that we've already talked about, but then working in our campus level international programs office as an intern, so that she has that really hands-on experience of negotiating those partnerships back and forth. And also when she's finished with that, she'll have a great reference going forward as she's looking for employment in those areas. I actually think she'll probably end up working here because they really love her, and I don't think they're going to let her go. But it would work really well to have that that practical experience, that that high level reference from a well-known university. You know, one of the things that's that really stands out about our university is the large number of international students that we have. You know, we are well known globally for that. And our study abroad programs, we're very highly ranked in both of these areas. That's important because you have that on your transcript. You have that reference and those connections that can really help you find you know, the career of your dreams as you go forward. Another thing that I've seen a lot of students doing, you know, using our program in order to do is working in international schools at the K-12 level. Now that was not on my mind when we were first designing, you know, years ago when we were first putting together the master's program. But since that time, we've come to realize there's a real need for this kind of international administration experience and coursework and networks. So we sometimes have students who are wanting to teach in those international schools in different regions, and they're getting expertise in order to do that. But often we have people who want to be leaders in those international schools, for example, principals or you know, high-level administrators. And so there is a whole K-12 focus that we haven't really talked much about today, but it's a really major component within this area, is people who want to work in a K-12 setting, but maybe in an international school. We also have teachers who are doing international work with their own classrooms here in the United States. And they've become very excited about the potential of that. And they want to use this program as a way to gain more ideas, possibilities, and really expand their own experience in this way. And what's also happened is they end up making some great colleague connections that they can then do partnerships and programs through. So there is a whole, K-12 focus within this program too. We do, if you'll look at the course list, you'll see that some of the courses are focused more towards higher education. So if you're thinking of working in a university setting, we would direct you more there. But there's a number of courses in the K-12 area, curriculum and instruction courses, bilingual classrooms, this whole area we also have and is very robust. And so I would encourage folks who are interested in, working in a K-12 setting, but really in some international capacity, that this could be a really good place to find the kind of coursework and training that you need. And it's hard to find out there. I've learned that from other institutions and from students, that there aren't a lot of programs like this that really help you prepare for those kinds of experiences and to give you really the background that you need to thrive in them. So.
And I'm also reminded, we had one of our, I want to say it was one of your students as a panelist here, who works at another university, kind of helping the different student bodies kind of negotiate their presence on campus. A variety of students from different countries and cultures that exist or coexist together with student populations that are from the traditional geographic service areas of the university. So that so he was talking about it was very interesting to hear about his job and how he is bringing about dialogue and discussion and having the students engage with each other. And I think a lot of the coursework helped him in what he's doing as well. It was very interesting to hear about his job and his outlook.
Yeah, I think one of the things that that happens in this field so many times is, people come in, like Elizabeth was saying, wanting to work in, for example, education abroad. But once you get in, there are so many fantastic opportunities and so many different exciting ways to pursue these sort of international education opportunities that oftentimes, you get pulled in another direction because that international piece is sort of across the whole board, but there are so many different ways to do it. And sometimes students, find out from peers in the program or part of the coursework that, oh, there's this whole other area that I didn't even know was a possibility, and they get, kind of off in a different direction than they originally expected. It's just a really, really exciting place to be. There's just so many, really meaningful opportunities to engage with people, meet people from all over the world that are really doing fantastic, exciting work. And being a part of that, I mean, you can't beat it, I don't think.
Hi, my name is Malachi Anderson. I currently work in international education. I work in international student and scholar services area. Have been in the field as a staff member for about 7 years now.
Oh, great.
My goal is to apply for Illinois' Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in Education program, but I want to focus on 2 specific areas, international education, and specifically with that, internationalization on campus, as well as policy for international students. And then the other area I'd like to focus on is women and gender studies. And so if I were to do the certificate, this particular certificate, could I use it to stack onto the master's program? And even if I couldn't, I'm happy to have it as a standalone. That's perfectly fine. And then I plan to go on to the PhD program for the diversity, equity, and inclusion in higher education.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's exactly what I would recommend you do is start with a certificate, build right into the master's, go from there into the doctorate. And I mean, everything you're doing and interested in as a huge area of interest, not only just within our faculty and our college, but at the campus level. There's a so much going on that we would definitely pull you into. One of the things I didn't mention earlier, but that's also a possibility is I work with a number of campus committees around different areas of internationalization. And I frequently try to pull graduate students who have a specific interest, like what you just described, into those committees so that you can be a part of that too. You can shape what happens at this campus, but then also it's great for building your own CV and expertise. So with you already have a great, you're coming in with a lot of experience and a lot of expertise. So that's probably one of the things I would think about for you. For example, last year we had a committee really focused on increasing diversity in education abroad campus wide, not only of the students, but the destinations. So something like that, I think would be a good way to sort of round out the experience that you already have working with international students, kind of flip that on its head and look at domestic students and think about their international engagement and how to increase that. That would add a real diversity focus. It would sort of add another piece to what, you're already coming in with so much. So that's great. And it would just be one more way to broaden what you have done and also get you connected to some amazing people on campus that would be really fun to for you to know and to work with. The other thing is there's so much overlap in international education and diversity and equity because, anything going on campus, I mean, students that come in internationally then become part of that diversity, right? So the boundaries are really messy. And that makes it really fun and easy in terms of coursework, to count for either one. So I think you'll find plenty of space in there to explore and expand. But it's great that you're coming in with the experience that you have. You'll be a great asset to other students who are interested in going into what you're doing. And then I think you'll find all sorts of ways to grow and expand on what you already know.
Okay, thank you.
We still got a bit more time if anybody thinks of any last questions here. If you happen to think of any questions after the session today, I know Allison put her email in the chat there too, but you can also reach us at gradservices@education.illinois.edu. I've put that in the chat too.
I had a quick question. I noticed on one of the slides, there was an application deadline of July 25th, but you mentioned an application deadline of July 15th. Are those two different applications, two different deadlines specifically?
So the application deadline is, oh, it's not working, is July 15th for fall term A. And September 15th for fall term B.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for coming today, who's able to come. Thanks for everybody who's brave enough to ask questions today. Really appreciate the questions. As I'd mentioned before, the recording will be sent out to everybody who registered for the session today. Afterwards, I'll also include the slides in that email so everybody has that information as well. Just a reminder, applications for Fall Term A close on July 15th. And if you have any questions, you can reach us at gradservices@education.illinois.edu. Thanks again.
Thank
Have a great
you.
day.
Have a good afternoon.